recent years, a series of gripping headlines have emerged from the heart of Mexico. Reports of demonic possessions and the urgent requirement for exorcism have surged to an all-time high. The Vatican has recently approved hundreds of exorcisms in the Mexico City area. Along with a group of local investigators, we're heading to central Mexico to jump on the front lines of this crisis and investigate the alarming prevalence of these demonic activities. Across every ocean,
it is not too secure, too safe to get there.
Lurking deep within the darkness, evil forces are preying upon the living.
Exorcisms are on the rise in Mexico.
I am sending a camera crew across the globe to document these events. I am Zach Bagans, and this is Destinations of the Damned. My film crew makes the trip to Mexico City, then immediately travels 135 miles north to Querétaro, a city whose bishop claims his diocese recently handled approximately 400 cases of demonic possession. A ministry of exorcism was created here as a result of this epidemic. We arrive at a chapel that is dedicated to helping those under the grip of possession. Fuerza y Fe, which translates to Force of Faith, is a group led by Professor Jesus Ramirez, who has dedicated the past decade to conducting exorcisms and clearing homes of negative energies. Remarkably, they carry out an impressive 300 to 400 exorcisms a year. And today, we've been granted access to witness one firsthand. There is a decidedly heavy feeling in this dangerous section of town. Mysteriously, something has delayed the exorcist's arrival.
So we're gonna go down and we're gonna find out what's going on.
My crew waits outside, keeping their distance from the imposing security team.
We'll follow you.
Jesus, the exorcist, finally arrives.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas noches. Andrés a la Triste, mucho gusto.
And the local producer, Andres, makes the introductions for my team. Jesus's lifelong fascination with magic, which began at the age of 12, has inspired him to create a unique approach to healing.
This is a multidisciplinary institute that respects all cultures.
Drawing upon diverse cultures from around the world, he creates personalized rituals and spells that promote healing and bring hope and restoration to those who seek his help.
I perform cleansings, healings, exorcisms, and all kinds of magic-based practices.
It's incredibly unusual that Jesus is practicing his own version of exorcisms, mixing rituals from multiple religions with his 20-year obsession with magic. I have to wonder, what magic is he practicing? Does he fully understand the forces he's dealing with? And could this be dangerous? Jesus is not recognized as an official exorcist within the Catholic Church, and these exorcisms are not being approved by an archbishop. Although I respect him immensely for trying to help the demonically possessed, could his practices sometimes backfire? I question if my crew is safe here. Nevertheless, Fuerza y Fe has become a sanctuary sought by hundreds of people, not only from nearby villages, but also from places as far as Mexico City and even the United States. Jesus explains his unique process to my crew. He begins with a test he has devised to determine if an exorcism is necessary.
We interview people who come to me. We talk about what happened and how they are progressing. And we carry out a series of cleansings known as limpias.
Jesus believes his test can establish if the person is mentally and physically healthy, thus ruling out a medical condition as the source of the torment. This is vital information when deciding if an exorcism is necessary.
They told me that they're going to make the interview and the test here, but the exercise they're going to do in another room. You want to see the other room or yep,
Yes,
before?
please,
Yeah.
please.
Así es. Esta es la habitación.
This is the room for exorcisms.
Ok. Pasen.
Jesus has a diverse array of tools within his reach.
Son
These
instrumentos.
are instruments of the African religion.
This one is to call like white spirits that help you to take out the bad spirits.
So it's a good spirit.
Yeah, this one is for ¿cómo se llama? Invocar. Like to invoke, to call, like white spirits and for spirits of light. And with that one, you use to return the spirit to the earth and don't be here in the room.
He even created a voodoo portal, which enables him to facilitate remote sessions, catering to individuals who are unable to personally attend Fuerza Ife.
¿Cómo sucede lo de la distancia?
A través
Through this portal over here.
Here in the back, there's a portal. You feel bad and you have like some issues of spiritual issues, and he can't go to see you. They make like a technique of voodoo.
Opening a portal is dangerous. And could it be opening up this place and the people who visit here to attacks? Again, I wonder if my crew is safe. In the waiting room, 3 people stand by, all complaining of attachments. One by one, Jesus administers his test to determine what treatment is needed and who, if anyone, requires an exorcism.
You're going to ask her to relax, to breathe, to take and start the test.
You who lives under the protection of Most High and reside under the shadow of the Almighty.
The first 2 people are tested and found to not require the most severe treatment for their conditions. That leaves us with the 3rd individual who explains she has been hearing voices and seeing shadows in her home.
Jesus Christ is your ruler.
Jesucristo es tu gobernante.
El miedo es más grande.
More than fear.
Finally, after testing this person, it is determined that an exorcism is needed.
He's going to continue the process in the other room.
Comienzo santificando a la persona en el nombre de Dios. En el nombre de Jesucristo. Dios te gobierna. Yo vengo a deshacerme de ti, para que dejes a esta persona que no te pertenece. Santa Inés, ruega por ella. San Jorge bendito, ruega por ella. En el nombre de Dios nuestro Señor, en el nombre de Cristo omnipotente, alberga este cuerpo en el nombre de Dios. Él te lo ordena y Jesucristo te lo manda. Así como Dios dio a sus apóstoles la potestad de someter a los demonios en su nombre, así tenemos nosotros la potestad de someterte ante el oscuro enemigo. En el nombre de Dios nuestro Señor, déjala en paz.
Más bien, aléjate. Aléjate.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Y cuántos son allá adentro?
7 que tienen que alejarse porque este cuerpo no pertenece.
¡Ah, de retro, Satanás! Suéltala en el nombre de Cristo nuestro Señor, yo digo.
Tú no eres de este mundo y este ser no te pertenece. Aléjate. Aléjate. Aléjense ustedes. Vete a donde vienes. Regresa a tu lugar. Abandona esta materia que no te pertenece.
No le vas a hacer daño. No le vas a hacer daño a la señora Ludelia. Respetarás su cuerpo y la dejarás en paz. Es nuestro Padre.
It will be a slow and arduous process for this woman, but Jesus believes she will experience a complete recovery. 4 centuries ago, the Spanish Inquisition ruled Mexico City with an iron fist. Could there be an almost ancient connection between this malevolent faction and the recent escalations of exorcisms? My crew is headed 135 miles south to investigate 2 of Mexico City's oldest structures, where locals believe an ancient and ever-growing evil lies. But before they arrive, their journey is interrupted when they witness a semi-truck slam into a bus filled with tourists. Is it possible an attachment from last night's exorcism is at play? Or is this just a coincidence? Is something following my crew back to Mexico City? Our team assists in a rescue effort. Thankfully, no one is killed, but my crew is shaken as they continue on their journey. My film crew is headed to a hotel in the heart of the city that is ground zero for reports of possible demonic activity and possessions. As soon as my crew arrives back in Mexico City, it's as if people there sense they've been someplace they should not have gone. A street shaman singles out my crew and cleanses them, as if he is aware that something has attached itself to them. Andres is leading us to meet with Antonio Zamudio, a paranormal investigator who has agreed to take my team to the Hotel Niza for the first of 2 locations we will investigate here in Mexico City.
André, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, ¿ustedes qué tal?
Fernando Espínola.
The hotel's building dates back to the 16th century, and the many extremely disturbing claims about paranormal activity there lead me to believe it may be a place where demonic entities are entering Mexico City and then spreading, affecting people like the woman Jesus exorcised in Querétaro.
It's an extremely old building. We're talking not only about the construction, but also almost all the buildings and houses built in the historic center of Mexico City are built on top of the great Tenochtitlan.
In 1325, Tenochtitlan was the capital city of the Aztec people. It was built on an island in what was once Lake Texcoco. 200 years later, the Spanish conquered the city, drained the lake, and built Mexico City over the ruins. This edifice initially functioned as a lodging house. However, over time, it underwent a series of transformations, evolving into a brothel, a residence for multiple families, and an office building. And now, a dark presence that has been making itself appear to the staff and residents has made this ground zero for Zamudio's investigations.
So it's very curious that the Hotel Niza still functions as a hostel for people who visit the area.
Zamudio tells us that this place has a seedy reputation. In addition to hosting unsuspecting residents, the hotel continues to serve as a sanctuary for criminal activities, drug dealings, and the shadowy underbelly of society seeking refuge within its walls. Reports of murder, fatal fires, and accidents haunt the annals of its history. Many report seeing the spirit of a prostitute whose throat was cut open in one of these very rooms. while others claim to feel the presence of a young boy who tragically fell to his death while playing with his sister on the hotel staircase. Zamudio has heard the disembodied voice of children in the hotel. Demons sometimes appear as children to trick people into dropping their defenses. Is anyone safe from the evil here at the Hotel Niza? There is another building 8 blocks away known as the 400-year-old house. Zamudio claims to have witnessed the spirits of children there. The building served as a monastery for the Dominicans and has profound ties to the violent Spanish Inquisition.
This is where the Abbey of Santo Domingo was located. It is not revealed because the church doesn't allow it. No?
Interestingly, the 400-year-old house is located right between the Palace of Inquisition, which served as the headquarters of the Spanish Inquisition, and the city's metropolitan cathedral that was built over a destroyed Aztec temple. In fact, Zamudio says the house was connected to both the cathedral and the Palace of Inquisition through secret underground tunnels. Those tunnels have since been sealed up by the city. And though some businesses occupy the ground floor, the upper floors are decrepit, abandoned, and haunted by something sinister. Zamudio introduces my crew to the resident dentist, who has been a tenant in the building for 37 years. He tells us about his concern for the child spirit sightings here and the dark energy they bring.
Sí, los inquilinos de aquí, luego nos juntamos y comentamos eso.
The dentist says they've seen a full-bodied apparition of a girl in the building.
En la parte de aquí arriba, antiguamente estaban unos polleros y decían que se apareció una niña. De hecho, uno de sus clientes le dijo, oiga, me tienen aquí de rato esperando y ellos dicen, no la vimos llegar. Dice, pues es que la niña dijo que su hija les dijo que le iba a hablar. Dice, ¿cuál hija? Dice, pues la niña que entró a decirles, dice, no, es que no hay nadie.
The activity at the 400-year-old house is developing into darker and more dangerous attacks. In one instance, while the shopkeepers were having drinks together downstairs, some planters weighing over 200 pounds were mysteriously thrown from the upper floors into the courtyard.
Tiraron uno hacia abajo y subieron a ver quién, pues no había nadie. Y la maceta pesa, yo creo, unos 100 kilos.
Shockingly, one of these same balconies that has become damaged partially collapses further while my crew is filming. It's as if something is trying to scare us as well, to make us leave. Zamudio introduces us to another longtime resident of the building, an 83-year-old jeweler who moved here in 1957. The shopkeeper also claims there is a darkness here.
Pues sí oía ruido, porque me quedaba solito aquí a trabajar.
Okay.
Son malos aires que sí existen.
¿Y usted, por ejemplo, usted practica alguna, es católico?
Sí.
¿Sí? ¿Y usted qué, o sea, qué piensa, que son malas energías?
Yo digo que sí.
Are we figuring out that these demonic entities are mimicking children to lure people, just like so many of my investigations in the U.S.? The dentist offers to show us where the tunnel entrance is located. My crew has to be careful because demons and other dark entities may be using these subterranean passageways to travel from site to site.
El túnel está aquí en esta dirección, pegado a la pared. Es más o menos un rectángulo.
Now it's sealed, but you can, before you can open the door and you can go down to the basement and you walk through the, like this way, there's like a two ways, one to go to the cathedral and one to go to another building.
With tunnels connecting to the Palace of the Inquisition in one direction and the cathedral where the Templo Mayor is in the other, it makes sense that these child manifestations are occurring. To try to solve the voice mimicking phenomena, Zamudio uses an interesting method of instrumental transcommunication, where he uses a TV to create a feedback loop connected to his laptop. After setting up his gear and starting the recording, he notices a strange variation in the sound of the white noise from the monitor. Despite manually setting the volume, it has shifted on its own. At the same time, members of Zamudio's crew are conducting a spirit board session in another room.
Necesito que me digas si moriste aquí.
The shift in sound happened simultaneously, with the participants asking questions.
Si eres hombre, sí o no?
Zamudio believes the sudden variation in sound is due to a residual energy spike caused by paranormal activity in the other room.
Probably a spirit manifested during the spirit board session, and at the same time, there was a variation in the electronic equipment.
Zamudio explains that they use surge protectors to eliminate the possibility of electrical surges causing interference, like the unexplained increase in the television static volume. Then, Zamudio hears a series of murmurs through the television static. Incredibly, he believes these voices also sound like a child, which would further prove that something here may be mimicking children's voices. Back at the Hotel Niza, my crew meets the manager, Lisbetina, and she says they are terrified because of a recent capture on their security camera, which she believes is a demon.
Once when I was checking in the camera, in the security cams, yes, it was a white face.
Do you have this footage?
Yes, I have. This is the ghost. What you can see here.
The video shows Lisbetina's co-worker standing by the window while a black and white face appears on the right side of the window frame. It then retreats into the darkness.
Can you take us to this guy?
Yes. Ernesto, háblale de la vez que viste el fantasma, que escuchaste un ruido de la mujer de negro, le estoy diciendo.
Ernesto, who works at the hotel, was here that night when the alleged ghost made its appearance in the CCTV camera.
De repente veo una mujer de negro entrada desde la calle y pasa por aquí. Estaba allá adentro y dije, vienen por un coche. Lo que se me hizo raro es que no pasara la caja. Llamé yo a la oficina, les pedí que por favor activaran las cámaras porque yo pensé que se había metido algún vago.
I'm going to take you to the place where the ghost appeared. This room, you can go upstairs and see the room inside. It's the same room where the ghost appears.
Empecé a subir por esta escalera, me asomé a la covacha y no había absolutamente nadie. Me dice el de la cámara, al lado tuyo hay una persona.
As Ernesto investigates the shed, he pokes his head out of a small window, not aware something else is doing the exact same thing.
You want to go? Oh.
Yeah, the ladder? Can you hand us?
Yes, of course. Be careful with the ghost. See the ghost only in the camera, no in the...
No one has ever seen it with their eyes?
No more than one person is going to be up here. Yep.
Incredibly, while our cinematographer is in the loft, the group hears footsteps coming from the corner of the garage where activity has been witnessed in the past.
Hey, there hears noise, stranger noise.
There's something?
Noise, stranger's noise. These rooms are the last rooms in this area. Okay.
And where did you see
the steps in this area?
In the same area?
Yes, in the same area.
And he just heard something in this area?
Yes.
It's as if everyone is in a panic over these ghosts or demons. While the security footage does capture a strange-looking face, is this an actual spirit? Or could this be a case of mass hysteria? Meanwhile, Ernesto claims that when the face was filmed in the window of the loft, a police officer arrived but was afraid to come inside.
Para esto fueron como 2-3 minutos que estaban filmando en tiempo real. Pues yo me bajé, salí y me fui hacia la entrada. Ya llegó el de la patrulla, pero la patrulla obviamente no quiso entrar, ¿sí? Y sí, de repente sentimos un aire, algo helado, ¿sí?
The police officer assigned to the vicinity confirms the account.
Y es cuando él nos reportó algo, más bien nos dijo, ¿sabes qué? Espantaron a un compañero tuyo. Y nos enseñó los videos. Y el señor saca así su mano. No hay nadie. No es que ahí es, no hay nadie.
He said one of his partners is assigned to this sector, but he doesn't want to come to this building anymore.
He's frightened of the building?
Yeah, he doesn't want to come to this place anymore.
The officer says that we have to remember that here in this area was a lot of sacrifice by the Templo Mayor.
The city's massive metropolitan cathedral was built in the 1500s on top of the ruins of a desecrated Aztec temple called Templo Mayor. Over 600 skulls of victims of human sacrifice have been found at the site around these Aztec ruins. Later, the violent Spanish Inquisition that followed the construction of the cathedral subjected the native people here to even more torture and execution for centuries. Located only a few blocks away, the Palace of the Inquisition, run by the Dominicans, was the epicenter of these atrocities. The notorious Hanging Arch, where executions took place, stands as a chilling testament to the brutal past. I have to wonder if all of this evil and suffering in such a concentrated part of the city exposed it to dark forces that still reside here today. Does it use the underground tunnels as spiritual highways while being charged by the original lava rock foundation of the ruins? And many of the stones used to build the Templo Mayor were reused in the buildings that stand in this part of the city.
So there's a lot of death here.
A lot of people died here in this area. This is the reason maybe we can find a lot of energy. Gracias, oficial.
As my crew continues to question what is happening at the Hotel Niza and whether or not they have stepped into a demonic infestation, they meet a Canadian named Daryl who has lived here for 6 months and who shares a disturbing encounter.
Once I was laying in my bed, somebody got into bed with me. Suddenly there was a weight next to me. Well, it was very disturbing. I bolted up out of my bed and it was gone.
Since coming to this hotel, Daryl also suffers from horrible nightmares.
I've had very disturbing dreams here. Very disturbing dreams. Dreams where people are after you, chasing you.
We meet another tenant who is terrified to be in his room. He claims something walks above him in the ceiling, and it isn't human.
There is shadow people here, or something, because you hear like steps, and then not just one person, it's multiple people. But you'll hear like, you know what I mean? Like a little stomp. And a lot of people may think, you know, maybe this guy's just superstitious or whatever. But when you start seeing things move within your room, you start kind of questioning things like, what is this?
Moses says he's seen shadow figures in his room so many times that he sleeps with the lights on.
You know, I did see like shadows moving within my room. That's why I said, that, you know? And I started sleeping with the light on. That's why you guys told me with the light on. I'm not gonna stay with the light on anymore. So there's shadows here that move. That I could guarantee, because I witnessed it. And I said, that. I put on my blanket on top of me, walked over there and turned that on. Sometimes hard for me to communicate with people, because they come and go. So sometimes I don't want to be here spreading rumors, right? Or let's say I get kicked out for something like that, right? I come here, sometimes it's just like a creepy vibe, you know? Yeah. And it gets me questioning too, because I mean, I've heard people tell me about this place, but I never really thought it was like this.
It's easy to see the fear in Moses' eyes. I can't even imagine what it would be like to live here, to sleep here, and to not be able to escape whatever is invading this place. My crew asks Moses if they can see his room, where he believes this entity walks above him.
Look on top over here, right there, those cracks, whenever that thing or whatever comes, it starts dropping dirt from those little cracks and it falls literally in my face. I mean, you guys could explain to me what's going on, you know? Yeah. Or maybe get like a pastor or someone to come through, clean up the place or something, because, I mean, I know I'm not the only one that feels this way.
Moses just told us dirt drops on his face from the attic, and our crew tries to access the area to investigate it.
In this area, the noise comes from this area. One night when I was checking, and I heard many steps in the wood, but I ran as quickly as I could because I was really afraid. Do you want to see a strange recording?
Lisbettina shows us a video of the alleged demonic entity moving and making noises in an empty room behind a locked door. The doors also appear to be slightly opening and closing on their own.
No, el colero así me quiso espantar ahora. Ah, güey, muévelo.
The room is closed. There is no voice inside. It's closed. The noise comes from inside the room.
Did that open by itself?
Yes.
It was closed.
So it was closed. There is nobody there.
So it could only open so far?
Yeah, exactly.
Zamudio's investigation begins at the Hotel Niza. He has set up equipment in a few different rooms, an audio recording device and 2 different cameras.
Este micro es ambiental.
Well, that microphone is an ambient microphone, so it will detect the sounds of this site.
Vamos.
He heard like a really low speech, and that's why he called him to take some photos of the place, so maybe he could see something later.
Mira, Zamudio. Si lo notas. Mira, huele.
So the scent is a characteristic of the residual energies. So the scent keeps like, how you say, saved in the structure.
Sometimes the smell is a characteristic when there are phenomena.
The energy is ascend with the place.
So he says that in that area, the scent they can pick up is like an old woman.
With the dangerous, very dangerous.
Many cultures believe the old woman's spirit or old hag is a demon and will have a putrid scent when manifesting. On a previous investigation here, Zamudio's team captured 2 instances of a disembodied voice that sounded to them like an old woman.
Hoy, de viejita,
And this is the second instance.
¿Sí escuchaste? Sí, yo también escuché. Sí, yo también escuché.
The old hag could be summoned by a third party to attack, like a curse. In Mexico, the old hag will lie down on the body of a sleeper, rendering them unable to move. People refer to this as sube el muerto, or dead person on you. Could this same entity be the one who terrorized the man at the hotel?
Once I was laying in my bed, somebody got into bed with me. Suddenly there was a weight.
Inside the Hotel Niza, Zamudio claims he has captured the audio of a child speaking to the old hag.
¿Escuchaste eso?
¿Se escuchó?
Mi abuelo, algo así. No terminé de entender. El sonido venía de la parte de atrás de donde estábamos.
He does capture what sounds like a ghostly child's voice in a panic.
We have been investigating this place for about 13 years, and we have found entities stuck in space-time between these walls. It sounded like a murmur.
Could this sound be connected to the earlier recordings? Earlier tonight, Zamudio set up a mirror, which he used along with a stroboscope to take photos as part of his experimental investigation. And what he witnessed was an unusual blue light orb that came out of the mirror. It then moved over to the doorway here, and a child-sized mist starts to manifest from behind the door frame. In this next shot, strange things began to appear in the mirror, like what looks like an animal skull, and even faces. Zamudio believes this is a spirit manifestation.
Mirrors within paranormal investigations we call windows of the afterlife, because mirrors are very mystical objects that not only reflect our image, but also for cultures like Aztecs and Mayans, who used what they called the black mirror.
Once again, Zamudio ties the dark entities here back to the ancient cultures that thrived here before the Spanish arrived.
The left wall of the room is made of the same stone as the pyramids. They have a theory that all the walls preserve the residual energy of the people who lived in these buildings.
Mexico and its fascinating culture are steeped in grand history, both magnificent and horrific. It's no surprise people here are tormented by demonic activity in the ancient battle of good versus evil. A battle as old as time itself.